and welcome to the Doofcast, a film and TV podcast from Doof Media. My name is Scott Daly, and joining me, as always, he would have voted for Obama for a third term if he could. It's Matt Freeman. How's it going, Matt?
Oh, I did. I did vote for him for a third term.
Oh, how?
You didn't?
Oh no, I'm sorry. Such a bad ally. This week on the show, our series discussing the best 25 movies of the 21st century as voted on by our patrons continues. Matt, please explain what this whole thing we're doing is.
Well, doofmovies.com is a website that we made that allows you to go vote for what you consider to be the best movies of the 21st century. And if you do that, and you are a patron of Doof Media, then your ranking of the best movies of the 21st century will be counted toward the global Doof Network-wide ranking. And that ranking determines which movies we're going to cover on this series, where we discuss the best 25 movies in the first 25 years of the 21st century.
Wow. You've never done it better.
Thank you.
This week, it's film number 17. It's currently number 19 on our list, but there's things happening. It's the 17th film we've done so far on our 25 film series. We're talking about 2017's Get Out. Oh, I could have sworn, Matt, we had an episode on this movie already, and I looked and I looked and I looked and I could not find it.
That is shocking to me because until sitting down with you right now, I assumed we had.
No.
So
we had one for Up and we had one for Nope. Us, not Up, Us. We have one for Us and we have one for Nope, but we never did an episode on Get Out.
Okay.
Which is crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a first time for everything.
But I know we must have talked about it at some point. Man,
I'm
this
sure
is
we
confusing.
did. So we're going to talk all about Get Out. I did want to, at the end of the show, if there's time, Matt, have a brief chat with you about Widow's Bay, because I know that's a show that you have watched some episodes of. It will be a spoiler-free discussion because I've watched the first season, but I know Matt has not. So we're not going to say anything specific about what happens in the season. But I thought it'd be fun to talk about the show, especially coming off of this discussion on Get Out, a horror film created by a comedy actor and director. Seems like a perfect place to discuss Widow's Bay.
Perfect. Let's do it.
All right. But for now, let's get into Get Out. Matt, what is this movie all about?
A young African-American visits his white girlfriend's parents for the weekend, where his simmering uneasiness about their reception of him eventually reaches a boiling point. Wow, so we're doing that now, huh?
Okay. That's what happens. This movie was written and directed by Jordan Peele. It stars Daniel Kaluuya, Allison Williams, and Bradley Whitford. Matt, when's the last time you had watched Get Out, and what did you think on this revisit?
I'm pretty sure the first time I watched it was when it came out. Mm-hmm. And what did I think on a rewatch? To be honest, I kept thinking that I really like his other movies better than this one, which is not to say that I hate this movie and that I'm going to have like a huge negative take on this movie. Like I don't think this is going to be one of those discussions where where I rag on it at all, because there's plenty of good stuff to talk about. But I guess that just coming into the conversation, since we just prefaced this talking about how this is the Doof movies discussion, I was kind of just like, why did this one get chosen as, why did this one get voted to the top and Us or Nope did not? And I think I kind of know, I think I know the reason is that those are like much weirder, more almost avant-garde movies. And it just so happens that I really like that. Like, I really like the way he swings for it with both of those. They're very strange. Like, we've talked a bit about how I really like Shyamalan for the same reasons, where he makes these very conceptual, risky movies where they really turn a lot of people off because it's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I love this. He's doing something so weird. And it's not that this one is also fairly risky, right? It's actually quite interesting. But I guess I was just a little preoccupied with the thought of like wishing that we could talk about one of his other movies.
Well, if we'd done that though, we'd be doing a repeat episode. Whereas
That's
now
true.
we get to talk about this movie for the first time. No, I mean, I it's tough for me to say, which one I ultimately like more of these three films that he's written and directed so far. I think if we use the official, definitely real and important measure of Rotten Tomatoes, Get Out is definitely the one that did the best, and then Us, and then Nope. So his trend has been a downward one as far as Rotten Tomato scores. So I mean, it really did not surprise me that this film was the one Jordan Peele entry we get. I agree with you that I think Us and Nope are spectacular movies, but definitely more niche and less broadly appealing in some ways. Like Nope especially is a movie that honestly the first time I watched it I didn't even care for it that much, and it wasn't until a rewatch and I really started to meet the film where it was and understand what it was doing is I realized how much I actually really liked it.
Yeah.
Whereas this is a movie that I just loved from the first moment I saw it. We went to the theater and saw this in 2017 and I fell in love with this movie. It's just kind of a meticulous script. Like I think Jordan Peele said he wrote and rewrote this movie like 200 times before he finally got to make it. And you can kind of tell because everything, like I think there's a thing that can happen in that sometimes like it's overcooked a little bit. I was just talking to you about Disclosure Day the other day, which is a film I think that I quite enjoyed, but I think has that problem where the script was like rewritten and changed so many times that it like lost track of what it was. This is a movie that just feels like so meticulously constructed and put together. The way things are set up and pay off continuously throughout it, the imagery, the themes, all of the stuff tying together to nail the point that this movie's trying to make. It's just like my favorite type of movie. And I really liked it. And I thought this is the first time I've seen it in a while. And I was happy to find out that all of this stuff is still working on me. I don't know how much like new stuff I discovered on this rewatch, but I just really enjoyed myself with this.
Cool. Yeah, I will say, again, I think this is only the second time I've watched it. So, and this is one of those stories where there is mystery at the heart of it, where you really do need to watch it twice to sort of fully get it, right?
Yeah.
In other words, like there are scenes earlier in the movie where the first time you watch it, you're just confused. You're just like, why are they behaving this way? What? And I think I found it so sort of opaque the first time. I was just like, I have no idea. Like I honestly have no idea like the meaning of like why the servants are behaving the way they're behaving. It's just it's baffling to me. Like it makes I have no theory. I have no that's kind of I think an interesting choice is like he's not even really particularly throwing us like a red herring explanation. Not saying that he needs to, but that typically in a story like this you would do something like that where you would have a plausible alternative explanation for like why the maid is acting the way she's acting.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie doesn't really offer you one, which is fine because it puts you in the character's perspective of being just totally disoriented and confused and and at the same time kind of feeling like, well, maybe I'm just being weird, maybe I'm just being crazy and I need to get a hold of myself. And that's one of the fun things the movie does is puts you in this position of, well, maybe I'm misunderstanding what's happening and maybe this is all fine, which is what, but you kind of know that's not the case. And you're wishing the character would snap out of it and get out, right? Realize that the situation is dangerous and that he should trust his instincts. But then you watch the movie a second time and you understand like, oh, okay, that's actually perfectly performing what's supposed to be happening, which is that this is in fact the grandmother and matriarch of the family who is, in a sense, in charge actually, and not even doing a very good job at pretending to be a servant. And we and he, of course, are misinterpreting her actions and her demeanor and everything. So yeah, that was I think more satisfying on the rewatch.
Yeah, I agree, and I like what you said about how the movie like really puts you in the shoes of what is being experienced here, and I was thinking about that a lot because I think this is a movie where if you're a black person watching this movie, I think you probably, and here I go, me 40-year-old white guy speaking for black people. So I think you probably like recognize and feel like a version of this in some way you've gone through in your life. Maybe not this exact scenario, obviously not the details of this exact scenario, but just the idea of like the microaggressions, the way people talk to you, the way people look at you, the just general discomfort you feel in a situation where you are the only black person surrounded by white people. And I think it is very specific and pointed that these are white liberal people, right? This is not the Deep South. This is not a conservative family, or at least presents as one, right? That is the part of the point of this all, that this was supposed to be that even amongst like the progressive liberal class, this feeling and this treatment of black people permeates.
Yeah.
And I think that's true. And I think like it must have been like black people must have sat down and watched this movie and been like, oh my God, like he's perfectly capturing what this feels like. I think one of the reasons this movie succeeds, though, for me, a person who has never felt that specific thing, but has felt something that is universal, which is going to your significant other's house and meeting their family, which is a situation divorced of the racial tension part of it, just a high tense, like very difficult situation, right? Anyone in that situation is already kind of nervous, is already kind of on edge, and this idea that, you know, you take this universal truth that everyone can relate to, and then you do this very specific racial part of it, that is specific to black people, and not just black people, but. And I think like the thing I kept thinking about is I wonder if this is a movie like for white people. and what I mean by that is like every black person watching this movie, again, I'm speaking in generalities, maybe not every, but like have experienced this specific thing like this before and maybe won't see or feel anything new from this. But if you're a person like me, I think this movie does such a good job of getting you into the mind frame of Chris and how everything can feel like just a little bit more pointed, a little bit more charged, a little bit more uncomfortable than it should be. Even if on the surface everything's fine. But man, isn't that weird? Or isn't that just, why'd you say it like that? Or why'd you do it like that? All the way to the end of the movie where it puts you in the heads of, as the cop lights flash, it's not a moment of whew. It's a moment of, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And the movie just so perfectly puts you in the position of what being a young black man in this situation would feel like, that it's like here, like this is a movie lambasting like the liberal progressive people that proclaim to be so progressive and colorblind and yada, yada, yada. And it's putting them on blast. And then like saying, this is how you make me feel.
Yeah.
And I kind of really loved that on this rewatch.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like this is one of those movies that was sort of willfully misinterpreted at the time and probably continues to be so because, because of all the reasons you said, really. Like people, it's lambasting exactly the people who probably Jordan Peele has to interact with on a regular basis. And
I wonder how many conversations he had with the exact people that he's like, this movie comes out and he's having conversations with the exact people this movie is lambasting, as you said. And like, how, like it must have felt so weird.
Yeah.
To be like this scenario right now where I'm surrounded by these white men in suits talking to me about how great this movie was. Like that's my movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like there's so many moments in the movie where you feel like that's just got to be a thing that happened to him. You know, somebody complimented him in a way that was racially charged, and it just makes you feel, dehumanized, right? And it's like that's the kind of thing that I think is actually sort of educational for people like us, because everything gets rounded off to this word racism that we have, but we lose all of the nuance of like the shades of behavior that can be super uncomfortable, because it's like, is it racism when you get a compliment? It's like, well, what it is it's rude. It makes you feel uncomfortable if the compliment is a weird racially motivated comment that suggests like some underlying way of seeing the world that is very racialized, and it's like, hey, I'm just trying to hang out here. And like the Tiger Woods moment, there's so much of it that's like comedy where basically Peele writing what is a comedy scene. I love his quote where he says, the difference between comedy and horror is just what music is playing. And like the whole bit where Chris is walking around the party and like every single guest makes some incredibly inappropriate racial remark.
Yeah.
That could be a Key and Peele skit if it was different music, and of course I'm exaggerating slightly. If the performances were different, if it was Key and Peele doing it instead of,
whenever I think of that, I always think of the Key and Peele skit when they're in a zombie apocalypse, but all the zombies are racist, and so they don't want to bite any of them. Yeah. My favorite part is when he walks up to a car and the window's shattered, but the zombie white person like locks the car door as he walks by. God, I love Key and Peele.
Yeah.
No, but you're right.
Yeah, and so again, it's the poking fun at that stuff, but it's super uncomfortable, and again, it's integrating it with horror in this way where it feels really that there's a danger to it. There's an edge to it because you understand him to be in a dangerous situation, even though he doesn't. And so you're like, what is the meaning? It all takes on this sinister edge, and
well, and clearly Chris is this guy who like very much feels like he's trying his hardest to go into this weekend and not let the discomfort that he feels ruin it. Right? He clearly likes this girl he's dating quite a bit. He loves her. I think he says he loves her, and he doesn't want to fuck it up, and so he feels an immense amount of pressure, and so he talks himself out of the discomfort that he's feeling because he doesn't want to be that person that comes to the thing and then is like, oh my God, your parents said such a rude thing to me. Like it is like, the movie's called Get Out, right? And part of the reason why Peele called it Get Out is because it's like, this is the stereotypical thing, like black people watching a horror film will be yelling at the screen, like, get out of there, right? And there are moments through this movie where you're like, oh, he should have left here. Like the second he wakes up and has been hypnotized, get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
But like, I think it does do a really good job of laying the groundwork for why Chris doesn't want to do that. One of the scenes that I appreciate a little bit more on this watch was that the first introduction with the family happens. I think even the dinner with the brother who is like saying, your genes, you could be a beast. Just such a wonderfully charged way of phrasing things. And then he's with Allison Williams getting ready for bed, and she says something to the effect of like, they're just as bad as the cop that racially profiled him earlier. And he says to her, I told you. And then you can see he like immediately regrets it, right? Like he says that and he's like, no, I shouldn't have said that. I didn't mean to say that. Like he's so like consciously trying to push himself out of this discomfort because he doesn't want to ruin this thing.
Yeah.
And the genius of the construction of the movie is that every one of those little things that one could call like a microaggression or just slightly racist or like fetishizing the black person's body and in very specific ways. The construction of the movie, there's all an undercurrent to that, right? Which is every one of these people doing these things and talking to him are doing it because they're sizing him up because they're going to buy him. Like the guy that makes the Tiger Woods joke, like you're absolutely right. That's probably a conversation that someone had with Jordan Peele. That was like, hey, you play golf, Jordan? That Tiger Woods, because you're black, right? Yeah. But the undercurrent of that is this guy was a former professional golfer. He's an old man now. He can't golf anymore. And he wants to buy this black body so he can golf again. And he's trying to size up to see how good at golf he would be. And it's like, I love that the construction of the movie is every one of these small things that he feels is 100% true. And it has this deep undercurrent under it. It's what makes it like a fun horror movie on top of being this very like pointed social commentary.
Yeah, I think I'm not the most adept social critic, but even I can sort of see what he's doing here, which is, in my estimation at least, I think he's sort of saying, okay, we've had the conversation about overt, anti-black racism. That we've been making movies about that for, a long time, and we all think we understand that. We all think we understand what racism is, right? That kind of already took a pot shot at that word, but I find that it's a word that has just like subsumed the whole conversation to the point where it's hard to even talk clearly, because this movie is doing all sorts of things that are not that kind of anti-black racism at all. They're different. They're different things. They're, like you said, they belong in different buckets. There's fetishization. There's I love the speech that that one great actor who's also in Widow's Bay that he gives,
Stephen Root,
the short speech he gives at the end when he says, some of them, they just want to be cooler, or they want to be, they want to have the body, or I forget what he says exactly. But he's just sort of enumerating, and then we see a flashback to the previous scene with each of the ones he says. He's like enumerating the different sort of types of ways in which people casually dehumanize other people racially without it being like the classic, like, I think you are lesser because of your race type of racism, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's kind of interestingly educational, because so many people walk around thinking, I'm not racist. I don't have a racist bone in my body. I would have voted for Obama 3 times if I could. Like unironically, that's like a lot of people really think like they can't conceive of themselves as being racist because racist people are bad and they're hateful. And it's like, look, that's, okay, sure, you're not hateful, but there's another step between being hateful and being sort of unthinkingly dehumanizing and objectifying and slanting your perspectives on people in a biased way. All of these things, and these are all different things, by the way. I just said that's the fiendish thing about all this, is it's actually quite complicated, and it's much more complicated than just saying, well, I don't hate anyone, so I'm not racist, right?
Yeah.
And the movie puts you in the perspective of the character who's experiencing that and lets you kind of think about what that feels like.
And I think you're right that none of these people would like sit down and say I'm racist. They would say the opposite, actually. No, I love black people. Like, look.
Yeah.
We're picking black people not because they're the inferior race, but because we find them superior. Actually, they're genetically superior to us. Is like the kind of a full circle, like liberal progressivism thing. Is like we love black people so much that we want to be you. Of course, in doing like, so and I think that's what Georgina and I can't remember the name of Walter. I think it is I can't remember the name of the guy that plays the grandfather.
Neither.
But like those are people who have like subsumed the body of a black person, but have removed everything that makes them who they are, right? So it's very specifically pointed in that regard. And then like I'm so glad you brought up the Stephen Root character, because I think he serves as this really interesting thing where like he posits himself as above all this too, right? He's a progressive liberal that's so far above this. No, I'm not fetishizing a black person's body. I don't even care that you're black, right? He's the colorblind one, right? He's like, I don't even see color, and Jordan Peele makes him blind, which is perfect. So he sits here on his high horse saying, I'm not like those guys. I don't care about your race. I don't care about your body. All I want you for is your eyes. So like, it's like, I'm better than all them, but I'm still going to completely strip you of your identity and take everything that belongs to you. It's like, okay, cool. Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I think I agree. I'm glad you pointed that out, because I was hoping we would get to that as a specific point where, this is my take, is like the thesis is kind of that it's all at root about this casual implicit dehumanization, which is not a dehumanization of hatred. It's a dehumanization of unthinking kind of indifference. It's like it's actually like pre-emotional. It's like it's the weird thing where, I don't know if this is going to land, but like, you know, I don't think I've ever been referred to as like the white guy, or, you know, as described.
Is that why you laughed in the intro when it said his white girlfriend?
Well, I laughed because they said African American, and we you know, we don't say that anymore.
Yeah, when exactly did that happen?
I don't know.
I've just rode the wave, but
yeah.
I think some people still do say African American.
I don't know what the rule is.
I always
anymore.
thought that was that's a 90s thing, right? I always thought that was weird because these people aren't like, he's an American. Like I just felt like it was weird to single a person out and saying you're an American from Africa. No, I'm not.
Well, that's okay. So like this is I don't think I'm going to like succeed in what I'm trying to say here, because it's weird and complicated. But it's like, you and I never have to have the sort of like mild indignity of being called like the white man over there said this. Right. It's slightly dehumanizing, because it's like I'm a man. I don't know why you had to add the color. Yeah. But black people have to like that. That's a default. That is the way that Americans talk, for better. Like it just is like it, and so there's a implicit casual racial assignment that almost like precedes any kind of rational judgment. Right. Yeah. It's like, and okay. So what's my point? I think it's basically like the blind character who just wants him for his eyes. The thing about that is like, arguably that's actually not racial, but it is utterly dehumanizing, because it's just like you are just like a thing that happens to have eyes that I want, and I'm going to buy them.
Yeah.
You're not a person. You're just like in the way of me getting what I want. Yeah. And that is such a, to me, on this rewatch especially, I think something in me resonated with that the first time. I remember liking it the first time and like feeling like that was powerful. And then this time it hit me even harder. And I think I was able to articulate, like, the thing about it is it just cut straight through all of it. And it just highlighted for me, like, I think I can buy that for this guy, it actually isn't a racial thing, but it is just, he just doesn't care about Chris as a human being at all. He just wants the eyes. And that is such a like viscerally upsetting thing, you know? I don't know that. I don't think that came across properly.
It does. I think I agree. I mean, I think ultimately, like the thing that color blindness does, which I think a lot of times comes with like you're trying to be like kind and considerate, and like the idea, like, I don't think anyone has any ill will towards black people when they say I don't see color, but it's also a silly thing because like you know he's black, right? Like you can't just sit here and pretend I don't see color, I don't care about color, because like it doesn't matter. Because he is black, he experiences that every day anyway. And if you say I don't see it, it doesn't mean he's not going to experience it. And this underlying thing of like, yeah, him, I agree with you. I think it doesn't matter to him that he's black, because it just doesn't. But the end result is still that a black kid is getting killed, essentially. That his body is being stripped. He's being stripped of his body. He's being stripped of everything. And it's like, so I think the ultimate message is like, that is still harmful. That kind of attitude is still ultimately harmful to the ongoing plight of equality for everyone.
Yeah.
The idea of like, I think there's a lot of people that during the civil rights movement and beyond thought the idea of like the end goal, the nirvana goal from this is like, we won't see color anymore. And I just don't think that's a practical, actual thing. It's like, we're always going to see people have different color skin. We're always going to have the things attached to that, the historical things attached to that. I think the nirvana of this thing is understanding what those things do and mean and how they affect people, and working through that collectively instead of just trying to pretend like it's not there at all.
Yeah.
And I think that is the point of the root character in my mind.
I like that. I also, I mean, so much of the movie, I'm thinking out loud here. Like, so much of the movie is about these little shitty comments people are making, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I like what you just said about like, what is the nirvana? Like, what is the dream endpoint of this? And maybe we all have our own different assumption about what that means.
Yeah.
I think if you just take the movie very literally, there's a case to be made that the movie at least is saying, well, for one thing, stop making these shitty little racial comments all the time. Because again, these are characters who don't think of themselves as racist and are not trying to be racist. And I'm sure this is again a thing that Peele probably has run into. People, like well-meaning people, bringing up race in a context where it's like, hey, would you have brought up race in this conversation if we were just two of whatever race you are?
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't have. It probably wouldn't have occurred to you at all. You're being weird and in your head about this. And I'm not saying that I want you to pretend that you don't see that I'm black. This is pretending to be Jordan Peele. But don't bring it up in a weird, inappropriate way. You know, like it's just a weird thing to do. And obviously, then there's the extra layer where they're literally trying to kill him, right? So I'm not.
Well, that's the fun underlying thought of this whole thing is Peele creates these. I don't want to say harmless, but like just mean microaggression type stuff. But yeah, underlying this is all the actual real violence these people are going to commit on them.
Yeah.
But I think a perfect example of what you're talking about right now is when the Bradley Whitford character takes him aside to show him that his dad was the runner-up to Jesse Owens, the black Olympian that won gold in Berlin. And like that whole conversation is tinged with the exact stuff you're talking about here, where this white guy is like, you'll like this, and then goes on this talk about like how impactful and important that was to show Hitler, talking about his Aryan race, and like this black guy gets up there and shows him, and it's like, you're trying too hard, man. Like, you're making him feel uncomfortable by pointing out his race too much.
Yeah. I mean,
I think the great design of this whole screenplay is that underlying that is the reality that his father, Bradley Whitford's father, lost that race to Jesse Owens and never let it go.
Yeah.
And so maybe you, Bradley Whitford, don't see yourself as racist, that you're fetishizing, that you're a nice, good, progressive liberal that isn't racist and loves black people and would vote for Obama. And I'm actually choosing to do this to black bodies because I love black people and black bodies. But like, the reason why your dad did it the way he did it is because he lost to Jesse Owens and he hated black people because of it. And he thought, maybe I can get in a black body then. And that's why he's sprinting around at night, right? Like, this is why he wanted in this body. Yeah.
I like that. I mean, I think you sort of reminded me that I'm probably not even saying this quite right, because they definitely have a degree of antipathy toward black people. I think that I'm trying to just make sure that it's like, okay, it's not your standard sort of your standard cultural racism. It's more of a resentment. It's a
Mhm.
resentment. It's okay. So, because you can have it, you can have the resentment be like the standard racism is like, I resent them because they're, you know, they're worse than me, et cetera, et cetera. But you can also have the resentment be they're better than me and that's not fair.
Yeah.
And they have everything that I don't have. And I should have that. Why don't I have that? That's not fair. It's not just, I would have won that race if I were black. That is the thought that
yeah. I mean, we're seeing the same thing with like the diversity, equity, inclusion, like pushback. With the like the even like in work and in school and all, like we're seeing all this great pushback to this, because I don't mean great isn't good. I mean just like a large amount of pushback, because of this feeling amongst white people that is this resentment of like, we've now gone full circle and actually you guys have it easier than us now, which is absurd. But like that is where that kind of feeling comes from. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say that to make sure that it didn't seem like I was saying that these people don't have any sort of racially motivated animus. I think they totally do. They would deny having it, but they do, and it's actually based in resentment and jealousy and that. But because they can't acknowledge it, it has twisted them into this weird shape where they talk about voting for Obama 3 times. And like, so in other words, he probably literally would have voted for Obama a 3rd time. Like he's not lying. He's just super resentful and bitter about the whole situation.
I'm going to try to say this in the most clear way I can, but I think the movie's argument is essentially there's the old form of racism where a white person did not want to even be around a black person, didn't want to touch them, didn't want them in the same room. The idea of putting your brain in the body of a black person would be disgusting and repugnant. This new form is the exact opposite of that, where I want to be them. I am resentful of the benefits and advantages they've had, and I want that, and so I will take that from them. But the end result is the same: is the black person being enslaved, right? Literally enslaved back 200 years ago. Now, just trapped in their own body, unable to control it. It's just the new form of slavery.
Yes, that's true. And the whole time, I guess the movie is sort of just putting us in Chris's position.
Yeah.
So that we're at least able to feel the discomfort of all of that and to just kind of empathize with him enough to be like, hey, can you guys just be normal? Can you just be normal for 5 minutes and like ask me something about myself as a human being? I mean, that's why he finds it refreshing when he has the conversation with Root, because they're talking about art. They're talking about the art that he does. And it's like the one normal conversation he has with anybody in the whole movie. In fact, that's what makes it so truly heartbreaking at the end, when you realize this is the guy who has ultimately betrayed him, sort of the worst out of everyone. Is like, oh, I thought you were the one guy who actually saw me as a human being, and not just as race.
I also really liked the he's desperately seeking out the black people at the party, to get to feel some sort of comfort and safety, and they don't provide any of it to him. None of them, because they're not really those people anymore. It's just so well done, man. I mean, like, we've been kind of talking about the themes and the meaning, but like the movie I think is also just fantastically directed. It's very tense, it's very funny. I will never ever forget the get them keys moment, which is just like Hitchcockian levels of ratcheting of tension, until the moment where she just drops the concerned look from her face, goes straight faced and says, I can't give you the keys, babe. And then I will never forget the person in my movie theater who that actress played a character called Marnie in the television show Girls, and was kind of like a horrible person in that show. And I will never forget in my movie theater, the moment that happened, someone in the theater screamed, "Marnie, you bitch!" It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's absolutely perfect. It's such a great moment. And you kind of like, I think I had forgotten that the movie kind of telegraphs that when you see her, you get into her weird little mini closet and see pictures of her with a bunch of black men, including the one that is now their gardener or landscaper or whatever. But man, it's a great moment. It really is.
Yeah, that was her performance is one that I definitely paid more attention to the second time because, I don't think that it's particularly tipping its hand, but it's also it's got a very interesting quality to it. I actually think hers is a sort of underrated performance in this movie, where she is having to so like on the level of like the character is constantly in the moment having to sort of maneuver and pivot what she is saying to keep him off his guard while explaining things away in a reasonable way, kind of subtly make him feel like he's being paranoid and crazy, but not to push that knob so hard that it seems like that's what she's doing, which is a really delicate dance. And she does it perfectly, because I think the first time I saw the movie, I was quite shocked to find that she was in on it, right? The idea that like her parents are doing something, illicit or, evil is basically shown to us, but we still are able to hold out hope that like, well, maybe she's still actually on his side. And this is all just from her point of view. This is a horrible shock, a horrible twist.
Sure.
And then, but then you rewatch the movie and you understand, like, in all these scenes, she is manipulating him. Even the scene where it seems like she says, well, we should get out of here. We should get out of here then. She's the one who comes up with the idea, and you're like, oh, thank God. She is on his side. She's actually going to where he doesn't have the confidence to say we need to get out of here. She's going to say it. So she is actually on his side. That's wonderful. And then it's like, well, she just said that so that she's just going to go tell her family what the plan is so they can just grab him before he leaves.
Yeah. My favorite little bit of information on that is the scene with the cop at the very beginning, where I think the scene is operating on a few levels. This idea that he is so incredibly nervous by the cop being there for obvious reasons. And when she starts pushing against the cop, he's like, don't do that. Like you're putting me in a very dangerous situation. You're putting me, you think you're sticking up for me and my rights and what I want, but you're putting me in this incredibly unsafe situation by doing this. And then the underlying thing of this whole thing, Matt, which is the movie never comes right out and says this, but they don't want him to give his ID to the cop because they don't want the police knowing he was here.
Right.
So he can disappear without anyone noticing.
Yeah.
And so like she hides it amongst this idea of sticking up for him and he didn't do anything wrong and no, you don't need to see his ID. But even that is hidden under layers of her manipulation. It's just fantastically well constructed. Like it's just like he really wrote the shit out of this movie. And this movie did win the Best Original Screenplay Oscar, and well deserved, I think, because it's just a really solid script for sure.
Yeah. I think, as a mystery that is very confounding the first time through, and full of these scenes where you're like, what in the hell is happening? I feel uncomfortable and uncertain in a way that I rarely do, because, usually you can at least come up with some explanation. But this, and it's so bizarre, like the way the grandmother behaves when she's speaking to him about the phone.
Yeah.
It's so completely bizarre, and you're like, why would this person behave this way? And you're like, I think I remember, this is like a million years ago, but I think I remember at first thinking like, so she's really really scared of being of being caught doing something she's not supposed to be doing,
Yeah.
or something like that. But it's like, but that doesn't quite fit because of some of the small choices in what she's saying and the performance. And then the moment when she, like, the tear leaks out of her eye, which at the first time you're just, again, you're just like, I don't understand. And then the second time you realize, like, that's the remains of the person inside her reacting to what he's saying, and that leaking out for just a second. Which is
100%.
A horrifying thought, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, it is like, just that existence must be absolutely terrifying. It's awful. And I think the way Peele chooses to shoot and depict the sunken place, I think, is one of the reasons why, like, the sunken place as a term has just, like, become part of the culture. Like, it's just like, this is a term we use now, and everyone kind of just collectively knows what that means. I do think it is a very interesting reflection on this whole thing that, like, okay, so grandmother and grandfather have been put into the bodies of these black people. We're going to lure these black men in and kill them and then sell them off. It's so fascinating to me, and I think it secretly says a lot that we need to build this lie around this. And what do? We have the mother and father play the help still, right? They're just pretending to be the help, but they're still doing that. They're still engaged in this. The most believable thing we could do to describe why these people are here at the house is that these are our black help. Brad Whitford tells the sob story about which we couldn't let them go. But man, like the acknowledgement of what it looks like for a rich white family to have black people serving them, like, they acknowledge that, but still do it anyway.
Yeah,
it's fascinating.
Yeah, I never. It's funny. I'm just, like, processing. I never thought about the fact that they couldn't have the grandfather and grandmother be there and just be like, oh, these are some of our house guests.
Yeah.
It's like, no, they have to be the help.
Yeah.
which again is that sort of, like, that sort of attitude of, like, I'm not racist, I love black people, and also automatically, if there's black people in the house, they should obviously pretend to be the help.
Yeah. Well, and we know they're pretending this for the sake of Chris, but there's a part of me that wonders, like, what does that existence look like even when no one's there? Like, did they just fall into that role anyway? I bet, kind of, yeah.
I do wonder about the sort of latent resentment thing that happens, because you got to wonder about the dynamics that are happening in that household when there's nobody else there. Because it's very creepy, first of all. I think there's one element on this watch that I just didn't catch, because it's very overt. It's just I wasn't paying attention to this element, I guess, is that this is sort of like a weird inverted KKK situation where it's not like this is just a doctor who decided to do a procedure. It's almost like this is a cult of some kind, that they happen to be a part of. And, like, the dad, we see that he's been doing this his whole life. His dad seems to be the one who has gotten him into this cult, whatever it is. I forget what there's a name for it. They mention it specifically by name. I don't remember what it is. I can't remember, though. But I was like, oh wow, okay. I kind of missed this idea that this is a sort of literal worship of black people, and then the cult is trying to achieve this apotheosis of stealing the black bodies to use for themselves. And so he was brought up in this, and it's quite weird. And we see, like, 3 generations of it at least, where the kids are so messed up, right? They're just the youngest generation, the 2 siblings, are so deeply, they act like monsters, and it's because they've been mentally just screwed up by this cult that they live in, that has raised them to to be this way.
Yeah.
And you almost feel bad for them a little bit. Not much though.
I mean, I'm right with them dying horribly at the end, like they do. Yeah. But I mean, Allison Williams like sitting there in her just like everything's firing all cylinders in this thing. The white turtleneck, and then she's sitting there on her bed eating Fruit Loops with a glass of milk next to it. It's like that's what the fuck. Yeah. That's like, I don't like that. I don't like that I don't like any bit of this at all.
The symbolism that I like the best, I'm pretty sure somebody else pointed this out to me, but anyway, the symbolism that I love, and this I guess this strikes me as being particularly like Jordan Peele flavored symbolism, is that, you know, he identifies the deer struck by the car with his mother. Mm-hmm. So it's a doe that is dying after being struck by a car, and then when he's in the room at the end, he sees this, you know, the stag head on the wall, mm-hmm. and the stag is him, right? It's a male deer. It symbolizes him, and it's dead. His head has been cut off. It's been turned into an object of display to be admired and to be owned. There's no longer alive.
Yeah,
and then he takes it and he stabs them with the antlers, which is to say, hey, it's not harmless just because you have you think you own it. You know, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think there's an earlier line. I actually think this is the first time I paid attention to this, but Bradley Whitford's character is complaining about deer and says like how much he hates deer, right? And they just like, they're an aggressive, invasive species. They take over. They come into an area and they take over. Yeah, like and rats. I would like every one of them to be destroyed. And because the movie has already primed us that Chris associates the dead deer that they hit on the way with his mother, like that feels charged in a certain kind of way, and it comes full circle with the stag, as you said in the end. Just again, very, very smart writing there. It all works really, really well.
Yeah, again, I love that kind of thing. I feel like he's even more bold and kind of weird with his symbols in his other movies, but that's one that I admire. That's one thing I like about his style.
Should also talk about the cotton, just to say it. I swear we talked about this movie before because I remember having this conversation with you. But the fact that he like literally picks cotton to plug his ears, which is how he resists the thing.
We definitely did. We definitely talked about this movie. I mean, was it in some unusual venue that we don't normally? Because I know this is a tangent, but I'm just like, I know that we have had some of these exact exchanges before.
Yeah, I was driving myself crazy with this week because I was watching the movie and having that same memory. I looked it up, man. There's never been an episode. I think we did like very early in the podcast, we did like an episode where we talked about a bunch of different horror movies, and maybe Get Out was one of the ones we talked about. And so we had like an abbreviated version of this conversation. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there was a Media MD where they talked about this movie. Were we on that one?
I don't know.
Oh well, yeah.
But I think the cotton thing is real. I mean, the other thing is that he kills he hits the son, with a croquet ball, right?
I think so.
Which is like a very stereotypically like white upper class sport. So there's lots of symbolism going on here by Mr. Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
Really incredible. Just really, really good stuff. I really like this movie, and like I said, like I don't want to like make a solid, definitive statement on like if I like Us or Nope better than this movie, but I do think this was such a statement movie for Jordan Peele, right? It just comes out. It's his first directorial film. It establishes him immediately as this director, this force to be reckoned with. It makes a shit ton of money. It does well at the Oscars. It just kind of breaks containment of a horror film in a very specific kind of way. And it just, I think Jordan Peele belongs in any list of the best films of the 21st century. And it feels like because this was the first one, it just makes sense for it to be this one.
Yeah.
I actually would put it much higher on the list than it is. Like I loved Sinners. I think this is a better movie than Sinners.
Yeah, I think I agree with that statement. Although I still prefer, I stand by what I said at the start of this episode. Even after this conversation, I mean, like I said, I accurately said I wasn't going to rag on the movie, but I mean, I think Us especially, which in many ways, I think it's probably his least well-liked movie. I was just like, this is like The Village in the way where it's like, look, we're just going to do this weird thing and you're just going to go on the ride with me. And you're going to say, but how did logistically, and it's like, shut up. We're not doing that. We're not like we're on a metaphor train and we're headed to Enlightenmentville, and just come with me and you'll have a good time. And if you nitpick, you won't have a good time, but that's your fault.
Yep. I agree. Love that movie. And I think part of the love I have for that movie is I think some of the most fun I've ever had on this show was that conversation you and I had about this movie. I thought I had a really good time with you trying to break down and discover what the movie meant to us and what it was doing and all the ways in which we really, really loved it.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm really interested to see what Peele does next. You know, he's been kind of quiet for a little bit. Nope came out 4 years ago now. He's had like his upcoming director list has said Untitled Jordan Peele project for it feels like 3 years now. I know his Monkey Paw Productions just like laid off a bunch of people. I know he's produced a lot of things since this movie. He's gotten really into producing, but I still don't know what his like next directorial film is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy who's had a really interesting career, right? Where he did the comedy shorts for a really long time, and he was extremely successful at that. And now he's done the horror things for a while, and you know, maybe he's just kind of changing gears and doing a new thing. And
sure,
I think it's funny because I think you and I both have this thing where we're like, when is the director going to do another movie? And it's like, well, you know, it's not a really hard job. Like, maybe they're just not. Maybe they don't even like it that much. Maybe they would like to do other things. Maybe he just wants to produce.
He made 3 movies in 8 years. Maybe he's okay just like chilling for a little while. Yeah. And I think he clearly does like producing because he's been doing it. And that's like the cool thing, you know, like some of my favorite people in this business are people that like break big and then are like, okay, now I'm going to turn around and help other people. And that's kind of what he's done in the last few years. Like the things that he's producing is up and coming filmmakers, giving them shots, putting money and his name onto things that just make them bigger. Which is cool. Great. Happy to see Jordan Peele on the list. Definitely the director that I will run out and see their new movie when it comes out. Whenever Untitled Jordan Peele project comes out, I will be there.
Me too.
It's in pre-production per IMDb.
Oh, that's cool.
Which means nothing.
Yeah.
It means absolutely nothing.
That's great. I'm thrilled.
All right. That is movie number 17, Matt, which means we only have 8 films to go.
And what's our next one?
Our next film is another out. It's Knives Out.
Oh. And it's a mystery too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Looking forward to this. I just do want to say to let everyone know, and I'll remind everyone at the end of the episode as well, but we will not be having this episode next week because I will be at Disneyland next week. So we'll pick this one up in a couple weeks from here.
All right. Sounds good.
But that is Get Out. I'm looking at what we have left, Matt, and it's going to be lots of good conversations. We got Knives Out. We got Avengers Endgame, Mean Girls, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, Live, Die, Repeat, Annihilation, The Tree of Life, and then we wrap everything up with good old Christopher Nolan. Inception.
Again. Yeah, it's going to be a great few months.
Yeah, it will be.
Doof.
All right. Do you want to chat about Widow's Bay really quick?
Yeah, we can talk about it for a little bit. So I'll just say I've watched the first 4 episodes. There are, 10 now?
8.
So there's 8.
No, 10. 10. There's 10. You're right.
The 10 episode season. I actually have no idea if there's going to be another season, but anyway.
There is. It has been greenlit for a second season.
Well, anyway, it's kind of slightly harder to have a conversation when I've only seen the first 4 episodes, but I can tell you that I've been having a great time watching it, and I'm going to finish as soon as I have the time.
Yeah, I'm so glad you checked out the show. Like, this is something that I watched the first 2 episodes when they came out, basically instantly fell in love with the show and have been screaming about it to anyone who will listen. And then it just kind of kept getting better and better for me as it went on. Again, I won't say anything about how the season ends. I think it nails the ending. I think it does an incredible job. I think you will love it. And it does allow there to be a second season and beyond without like completely undoing everything they built over the course of the season. So this show was created by a woman named Katie Dippold, who worked on Parks and Rec. So it's this really interesting, like, it's a horror comedy show, but like you could call like Get Out a horror comedy as well. But I think Widow's Bay leans more into the horror or the comedy than like Get Out did.
For sure. I don't know what the complexion of the whole show is going to be overall, but I think one thing I appreciated was, yes, it is more of a comedy. It is more funny. There's a lot of sort of beats that are just pure comedy beats. Like a lot of the stuff having to do with his office staff. It's just kind of like, this is a sardonic sort of, like way more dark and sardonic than you would find in like Parks and Rec or The Office or something, but it is sort of from the same family of like awkward office humor. But then there's a whole different variety of humor that comes from the way that it's doing the horror stuff. And the horror stuff, and I'm going to say this in the least spoiler way I can, is like extremely trope aware, but not undermining the tropes. Like, that was the fun needle that it thread for me, is there's a way to do this where you're always laughing at the expense of the horror, sort of like a scary movie, you know?
Sure.
Where it's like, isn't this stupid? And in fact, you're sort of, it's playing with the tropes in a way where it's deploying the tropes. It's just skillfully using the tropes. But then it's sort of also being like, you know, this is that trope, and like, and the character kind of does too, actually.
Yeah.
Like that's the funny part. The character is like, oh, seriously, but then it still works. That's what I love about it. It still works as a horror beat, and you still jump when you're supposed to jump.
Yeah. I completely agree. I mean, the ultimate success of the show to me is how it's navigating all these things that are actually incredibly difficult to navigate, threading the line between horror and comedy, telling a story in this world. Like, not to rag on our favorite punching bag of From, but this is a show that like develops this it kind of is a mystery box of like what's happening on this island, and then it just like, I was surprised at how quickly the show moved from, I guess the slight spoiler for the first couple episodes, but how quickly it moved from, is all this crazy shit actually happening on the island, to yes, it is. Right? It moved through that very quickly, where I think a lesser show like spends episodes, maybe even a season, kind of playing with that idea of like, is this real or is it not real? Is it all in the mayor's head or is it not? And the fact that this show is just like, no, we're not going to do that. We'll play with that for a little bit, and then we'll move on to something else. And it's just like the degree of difficulty to navigate all those things, and then tell something that's compelling while still building something over the course of a season, some greater story, some greater mystery of like, what is it that's going on the island, while having just some of like the best character actors like just doing their thing. From the comedy beats, like, let's talk about Stephen Root again. He's incredible in the show, just absolutely incredible. It's just like it does like, and I'm being a little bit hyperbolic here, but it does like every bit of what I love about television is like takes place in all the same show, and I just can't get enough of it. You watched the 4th episode, which I believe is the beach party episode, right?
Yes.
Well, just like my favorite episode of television this year, like the whole thing with Patty and her self-help book. It's just like,
yes,
just my favorite thing. Just like my absolute favorite thing.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it felt like, it could have been a movie, and again, it's doing the thing where it's playing in a space of horror tropes that are familiar, but yet they're all working on you. And it's also kind of funny, and you're like, in the right, like you're alternating between moments of like, you got me, and like actually being uncomfortable. Really fun, really fun.
Yeah.
The actors are all great. I mean, yes, Stephen Root, everyone loves him. He's one of those that guy character actors, but he gets to be a more central role here, more so than I would say, than you usually find him. And I'm loving him in this. I'm loving everybody.
He's 74 years old.
I know, it's crazy. Yeah,
he's doing great.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying he like looks super young, but he doesn't look like an old man.
Yeah,
looks like. Yeah,
I was actually. It's funny you say that, because I actually looked him up while we were talking, because I was like, I mean, he already seemed middle age in like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah,
20 years ago, 25 years ago or something, right? So yeah, he's doing great though. He seems strong and healthy to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's so many other like. I mean, this, like we talked about episode 4 already with Patty. Like, that's an actress called Kato Flynn, who maybe I've seen her before in other stuff, but not really noticed it. And she is like incredible in this show, like just absolutely incredible. Came out of nowhere for me. Like, so Matthew Rhys, who plays Tom, the protagonist. Like, I've seen him in a bunch of stuff, right? I've watched The Americans. He's a phenomenal actor. I didn't know he could do this. What he's doing in this, like the physical comedy, just like the way he plays this character. I didn't know this was a gear he had, and then like watching him just like display it over the course of 10 episodes over this thing, I was like, holy shit! And you haven't even gotten there to some of the best stuff, but it's just, I just can't get over how good the show is. Like, I just like, it's. The degree of difficulty here, I think, is like just like you look at the show and it formed as this like thing that's just very, very good, and it does the thing that the best writing does, which is it makes it look easy, and just like the way they had to like juggle all these things simultaneously and ride this fine line, and they just at every moment where you could have made a good choice or a bad choice, the show seems to make the exact correct choice. And it's my favorite. It's my favorite thing that I've seen this year. Absolutely.
I just wanted to say, I feel like this is a special treat because I have not seen Matthew Rhys in anything. I have no idea who this person is. I've not watched The Americans, and so this is just like this amazing, new actor from my point of view, which I know he's not literally a new actor, but I'm just like, I don't know. It's always great when you encounter a great actor and it's just like, well, they've been in 10 different things. And I'm like, well, I haven't seen those things, so
well, great, that makes me happy. Maybe we'll sync up again once you're finished with it. I mean, just to let you folks out there know, I sent a message to Matt today, which was just like, maybe when we finish From, we should just do an episode by episode thing on Widow's Bay, and we will have already seen the whole thing, but who cares? It'd be really fun to dive into the details of this, because it is the type of show that I think really rewards diving into the details, because I think that like so much of the comedy is just like prop comedy and like just visual comedy. You've seen the haunted house episode, right? The one that's spoofing The Shining. That's in the first 4, right?
The end, yeah.
The end, yeah. The games that are on the shelf, just like all time jokes, just incredible stuff.
They're jokes, but also, I mean, I don't know how theory crafty to get, and again, I'm only 4 episodes in, but I definitely was like, is this really happening? but yeah, they're fantastic.
One of them was like just teeth, right?
Yeah.
And it's just, there's just pliers.
Yeah, pliers. Yeah.
And then the other is like Run, I think it's called.
Yeah. Run.
And it's just a bunch of cards.
Yeah, not yet. Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
that's like incredible stuff.
Well,
just absolutely incredible.
And the game they play, I don't want to say anymore because I don't want people to know.
God.
But
not yet. Not yet. Run.
Yeah.
I love the show. Everyone should watch the show. Apple TV has been like really on a tear lately, man. Like they are one of the less watched streaming programs or subscriptions, but like they just keep doing really good stuff. It's like they found what their niche is, and their niche is just doing like crazy shit like this, and it works.
Yeah, well, I would say that the trick is make good shows, don't make bad shows.
That is always the trick. I don't know why everyone just doesn't do that.
I agree, man. I agree.
All right, well, that is Widow's Bay. All 10 episodes are available right now on Apple TV Plus. Please check it out if you haven't already. And Matt, I look forward to hearing what you think about the next 6 episodes.
All right.
Cool. Let's get into the discussion question and then go to bed.
Yeah, this question from last time was, what's your favorite World War II movie? This was, of course, after we talked about Inglourious Bastards. Mm-hmm. From Busy Dad 82, they say, one of my personal favorite World War II movies is The Great Escape. When the Germans can't figure out how to keep serial breakout artists from escaping the POW camps, they put them all into a single maximum security camp with predictable results. It's on the more fun side of World War II movies. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but there's plenty of great performances and action. It's got one of the most stacked casts of all time for its time, with Charles Bronson, Steve McQueen, James Coburn, James Garner, Donald Pleasance, Richard Attenborough, and more. I won't ruin it, but in one of the final scenes, you'll see one of the best motorcycle stunts of any movie ever made.
Oh, you can't ruin that. Everyone knows. Everyone knows the final scene of The Great Escape, right?
I think so. I mean, well, I don't know, maybe not. I mean, the ending of the movie, it's definitely one of those ones that stays with you.
Yeah.
That much.
Darren Longbeard says, not a movie, but mine is absolutely Band of Brothers. I think it beautifully captures both the horror of war, but also the brotherhood of those that served. There are so many incredible moments, but what stands out to me the most is a scene when Captain Dick Winters rushes across a field ahead of his men, crests a hill, and saw a German soldier who was maybe 17. He hesitates, but ultimately fires and shoots him. It's not a glorious moment. It's not another dead Nazi moment. It's a devastatingly bleak confirmation that war is hell, which is a sentiment the entire show highlights very well. Yeah, man, I remember in a post Saving Private Ryan time when both Band of Brothers and The Pacific came out over the course of, felt like a few years. Just like, this is just really, really good World War II television. Did you watch those?
No, neither of those.
Oh, wow.
I know. Yeah, I always wanted to catch up on Band of Brothers, though. Sounds really good.
I got them on Blu-ray. They're right down there. You want them?
Yeah, hand them over, man.
Cool.
Thanks. All right, I got them. Apocalypse Twin 7 says, my favorite World War II movies are the most harrowing, Come and See, and The Zone of Interest. Both movies portray the absolute inhumanity of the Nazi regime, but in very different ways. Come and See follows the perspective of a young boy who is transformed over the course of the film into a shell of his former self by the horror of his experiences, while Zone of Interest portrays a man's relentless attempts to stifle his morality until he is made physically ill by the evil acts invading his soul. Yeah. I was just thinking about that. You know, we're reading Angel Down for book club right now, which is not about World War II, but it's about World War I, which was also pretty dang horrible. Yeah. And I was just thinking about it as like one of the works that has made me feel like this is one of the more successful actually anti-war movies, where I'm just like, everything about this is awful and sad and, you know, as far from glory as you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
So
I'm only about a third of the way through that book, but I can see exactly why you feel that way. Yeah.
And I was reminded of that I haven't seen Come and See. We've talked about Zone of Interest.
Yeah, that I will never forget the experience of watching The Zone of Interest. That movie really fucked me up. Fantastic film, but yeah, just horrifying.
Yep. All right, and then the remaining answers are from Meroid, who talks about Casablanca as a uniquely valuable film because it was made during the war. without the post-war mythologizing, asking where are we going rather than sort of, standing back and thinking about how this shaped our world.
Yeah. One of my favorite films of all time.
And then DJ Nadelko says Bridge on the River Kwai as best for its character focus and psychology. Also gives shout outs to Pan's Labyrinth and Jojo Rabbit. Yeah, it's interesting how you can sort of bend the movies by sort of how fun versus meditative and depressing they are. Where I think almost all the ones that people listed here, at least in, not okay. So it's funny, now that I say that, I'm like, it's really actually hard to think of a World War II movie that's like, fun. Like they're basically all like war as hell, just with greater and lesser degrees of action scenes in there.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I just like Jojo Rabbit is this fascinating little nugget for me because I really loved that movie. And I feel like, I don't know if it was just the timing or like people just got sick of Taika Waititi right at about the time that movie came out. I just feel like that movie got like ripped to shreds by a lot of people. And I was like, whatever, you're allowed to like what you want and not like what you don't want. But I was like, damn, like people hate that movie. I'm just like, even if you don't like it, do you hate it?
Yeah, I think you're right. It was part of a cultural moment.
Yeah. All right. Those are some cool answers. Thank you everyone for participating. Next week, to fit with Get Out, we're going to go with horror comedies. What is your favorite horror comedy?
Yeah.
There's a lot of options here.
Yeah, it's a fun genre. I think I prefer horror comedies than straight up horror movies personally.
That would be a tough thing for me to say definitively, but maybe. I like the horror comedy a lot. I mean, I think, you did the Jordan Peele quote about the difference between a horror and a comedy, and I think it's just true that these two things are trying to shock a reaction out of a person, and so taking those two things that are very close together and smashing them together, I think just works more often than it doesn't.
Yeah.
So it's a fun genre for sure.
Cool.
All right, folks, that's all we had for you guys this week. If you have any opinions on Get Out, on Jordan Peele, on Jojo Rabbit, on Widow's Bay, or if you just want to answer the discussion question, please feel free to reach out via email at doofmedia@gmail.com, over on X @doofmedia, Instagram @doofmedia, or reddit.com/r/doofmedia.
If you're not already subscribed to the Doofcast, we encourage you to subscribe and ensure you never miss an episode. You can find us on iTunes, YouTube, and pretty much anywhere else podcasts can be found.
And if you like what we do here at Doof Media and want to support us, please consider becoming a patron of Doof Media. Head on over to patreon.com/Doof Media and pledge at any of the available levels, even for free if you want. There's tons of stuff happening over there. Have you guys checked out The Knot yet? Matt's so far 16-part shorts. I was going to call it a short story. It's novel.
It's novel. I think it's officially novel length actually now. Yeah.
It's all posted there once a week on the Patreon, so you should check it out.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. Continuing to have a great time writing that, and I feel like people are enjoying it. So check it out if you haven't.
I certainly am. I caught up with it just earlier today.
Thanks. Cool. Also, please consider rating and reviewing the Doofcast on Apple Podcasts. Each review helps us get more exposure and introduces new people to the content that we make here.
That is right. A reminder that next week we will be off because I will be meeting. Who do you want me to meet at the old Disneyland?
Chewbacca.
Okay. It's not expecting that, but sure, I'll meet Chewbacca. I'll get you a picture.
Okay.
We'll be back in 2 weeks for our next 25 in the 21st series covering Knives Out.
My name is Doof, and you'll do what I say. My name is Doof, and you'll do what I say.